If you are serious about bettering your finances, please do subscribe down below because you're watching Boss Your Money with Anthony. In this video, we're going to talk about what exactly is the 50-30-20 rule. And not only that, we are going to talk about whether it is something that we should do or are there other ways to budget your money. And I'm sure if you've researched anything about saving and budgeting, you might have definitely come across the 50-30-20 rule. If you guys stick around till the end, you guys are going to get to know my thoughts on the 50-30-20 rule. Let's get straight into the video. 50-30-20 rule is a very basic principle that says that the ideal budgeting method is that you should take 50% of your total after tax income and allocate that towards your wants. Take 30% of your total income after tax and allocate that towards your needs. And take 20% of your income after tax and allocate that towards your savings. So now that's the basic principle. But what is a want? What is a need? And what is savings? So your needs are your basic necessities. Your basic necessities include your housing, your food, your clothing. If you are a student or if you have children, the education. It includes your health insurance and utilities, and it includes your transportation expenses. If you do have debt and you have a minimum monthly payment that needs to go towards your debt, that is also categorized as one of your needs. Now, what is wants? Wants is basically when you take your needs and amplify that. Something nicer, something cooler. So if you need to live in a one-bedroom apartment, but you want to live in a three-bedroom apartment, that's where wants are differentiated from needs. Likewise, if you can get away with traveling to work by public transport, or if you absolutely need a car, you have a basic car that can get you from point A to point B, that's your need. Or if you insist on buying a BMW or a Mercedes Benz, then that becomes a want. Likewise, if you have a basic internet package at home and you want to upgrade that to a 300 Mbps connection, that is absolutely unnecessary. That then is your want. Similarly, if you spend a little bit on having a cup of coffee at home, but instead you want to head out to your local Starbucks, that then becomes a want. And last but not least, unless you're a fashion model, you really don't need those designer clothes and handbags and fancy sneakers. And if these are things that you are into, then these are all your wants. The last part is your savings. Savings can also include your debt repayment. What I mean by that is the remaining 20% should be allocated towards paying off your debt first and then allocated towards your savings and investments. This is the basic principle of the 50-30-20 rule. So what are my thoughts on this principle? Well, my thoughts are very simple. This is a great principle when you're talking about getting started with budgeting. When you're serious about your finances, this is something that you absolutely have to start off with, but this is not your end goal. Hear me out. The reason I'm saying that is because if you are only saving 20% towards your savings, it's going to take you a lot of time to get to your financial goals and to get to financial independence and going debt free. I'll put this very simple example that I've just come up with on the screen so you guys can follow along. But before that, don't forget to turn the like button blue because that does help me out a lot. So let's say that we have a monthly income of $5,000 after tax. 50% of that would be $2,500, 30% of that would be $1,500, and 20% of that would be $1,000. So now when it comes to your needs, let's say we spend $1,250 on your housing. And when I say housing, it could be either your mortgage or your rent. Let's say we budget $300 towards your groceries. I've also allocated $200 towards health insurance, $175 towards utilities, $300 towards education. And of course, if this isn't applicable to you, any of these items, it's just an example budget. So you would obviously tailor this to your specific needs and wants. I've then allocated $125 towards transportation. This is monthly. And your essential shopping, which is your basic t-shirts and jeans and your work clothes and your shoes. This is not something that you splurge on. This is your needs. These are things that are necessary for you. And by the way, guys, if you haven't checked it out, I will leave a card up there so you can check out my budgeting video. I'm sure that you will find some benefit out of watching that. So let's move on to the wants. So let's say you can't afford to buy a car with cash and you buy the car with a loan. You're now spending $400 towards a nicer car. Let's say you go to fancy restaurants on a monthly basis and spend about $400. You're also spending $400 on fancy clothes and designer shoes, and you spend $300 on random stuff. This brings your total to $1,500 on wants, and you are left with $1,000 for your savings. How long do you guys think it's going to take you to save $1 million from your $1,000 savings every single month? Believe it or not, if you save $1,000 every single month, invested at 7% returns annually, you're going to reach $1 million in 28 years. I'll leave the link to the calculator down in the description below if you guys want to check out what your $1 million time frame is. But now let's get into my alternative budget scenario. Let's say you cut down your housing to $900 from $1,250. Let's say you cut down your groceries to $200 from $300. Your health insurance is very important. As you might have heard, health is wealth. I'm not going to touch the health insurance. Again, guys, this is only an example budget. Depending on where you're located, all of these costs may differ. Your income might be higher, lower, your expenses the same. So as an example, I've kept $200 the same for health insurance. I've reduced my utilities from $175 to $100. You could do this by downgrading your internet plan. You could do this by including your significant other in your mobile data plan. And like with health insurance, I've also kept the education same at $300. I've reduced transportation from $125 to $75. You could achieve this by sharing a ride with your coworkers. You could do this by using the public transport a little bit more. And I've also gone ahead and reduced my shopping expenses to $75 from $150. This gets us from $2,500 spent on needs to just $1,850 spent on our needs. The wants. I'm not going to buy my dream car right now. I'm not going to spend that extra bit on a car that is going to depreciate heavily. So I'm not going to have any expenses towards my fancy car. I'm going to cut down my fancy restaurant outings to just $150. I'm not going to buy fancy clothes at all because you don't really need it. And I will keep my miscellaneous expenses at $300 because you always are going to have those little expenses that you cannot escape from. So this drastically brings us our spending on wants from $1,500 to just $450. And this leaves us with a whopping $2,700 every single month, increased from $1,000. So now that we have $2,700 to invest at 7% every single month, how long do you guys think it's going to take to reach that $1 million goal? Go ahead, pause this video and let me know in the comments down below right now. Your $2,700 invested monthly with the returns of 7% per annum is going to get to your $1 million goal in just 17 years. That is a whole 11 years less than it would if you are following the 50-30-20 rule. I believe I've very clearly made my point, and that is, if you don't have any kind of savings goal and if you don't have any kind of budgeting allocation, by all means start off with the 50-30-20 rule. But as and when you move forward on a monthly basis, I request you to go back on the previous month and improve on your budget every single month so that you can reduce your costs as much as possible. Because here's the thing, guys, if you have that $1 million in just 17 years, you can then take a portion of that and buy your dream car with cash without having to have sleepless nights over your debts. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys at the next one.